Well, that was interesting. I just had a great conversation with the source that put me onto something that maybe seem obvious to you guys, but Rich Rodriguez will probably and be very comfortable playing two quarterbacks. Let's talk about that.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good evening. What's up, guys? It's Paul after dark. Welcome back into Locked On West Virginia, baby. Well, we're talking our quarterback situation. I think it's going to be fun considering, quarterback's fun, right? It's the best position there is. There's so much nuance to it, and this situation has a ton of nuance. And got off the phone with the source not even 2 hours ago. I saw a video. Somebody was doing a video, and in their title, two quarterbacks. And I thought, whenever I talk to this person later, I'm going to ask that question to them about two quarterbacks. And their exact answer was, it's not only is it possible, I think it's likely at this point. That's how little the separation is. So, not that it can't grow when they come back in this summer. I'm not saying that either. But as things stand, I do believe that we could have a two quarterback situation. So, I went to dove into research for the last couple of hours. I thought, well, I know he's done two quarterbacks here. I know he's done quarterbacks there. But I think you would be surprised to find out how many times in Rich Rodriguez's career he's played with two quarterbacks. And I can guarantee you there's never been another time in Rich Rodriguez's career he's had more pressure than now. That includes 2007. Let's get to it. Thank you for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network where we talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. Guys, make sure you like the video before we get started here. Subscribe if you're new around here. We're on the road to 5,000. We're like 50 people away. Giving away money when that happens. You want to be a part of that for sure. Happy 4th of July to those of you that are going to be celebrating that tonight. I appreciate that. Definitely a great day in our nation's history. And look, thanks for being everyday listeners, guys. And I do try. As you all know, I'm trying to be here every single day. So, I think that's important. Showing up, showing out, right? It means something to people. All right, so let's get to this. And by the way, this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by Game Time. Look, when it comes to Game Time, we know they do it big with the $20 off your first purchase. But you have to download the app, create an account, and use code Locked On College at the Game Time app for your first purchase. Rich Rodriguez doesn't care about norms. As a matter of fact, if you listen to him tell it, he'd play 3 or 4 if they were good enough. He said that this year, right? So, while there was a little bit of a joke in there, I think at the end of the day, he's utilized two quarterbacks in a system a whopping 15 times, something crazy like that. Let me get here and count as we go through this. So, he hasn't bought it. What is the saying he was talking about? He said he doesn't buy into the saying, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. He sees having multiple quarterbacks as a strength, not a weakness. And he said he would play 3 or 4 if they're good enough. That's what he said. Obviously, we know his spread option, no huddle offense thrives on that flexibility. And he's proven it in the past by rotating quarterbacks at every stop. West Virginia, Michigan, Arizona, Jackson State, Tulane, Clemson, even Glenville State. So as an offensive coordinator, he did it. As a head coach, he did it. I'm sure he's going to do it in this stint. At Tulane, 97, 98, Sean King and others. Patrick Ramsey was in a rotation at one point in time there. You remember Patrick Ramsey? When he was implementing his spread offense was still in its early stages there. Sean King was the primary quarterback, and Tulane went 12-0 that year in 98 with a really good passing attack. But while King was the clear starter, Rich Rod rotated other quarterbacks in specific situations, especially in 97 to leverage their strength. Patrick Ramsey, who was a freshman in 98, saw limited action, but was part of the depth chart. He was part of the depth chart. The success came from Rich Rod's ability to adapt his quarterback skill sets, which kind of set the stage for this multi-quarterback philosophy. He noted in that 298 season with games on TV, it kind of drew the attention to his system. He said this in the past. And that's when coaches like Norm Chow, the former, USC offensive coordinator, Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator, visited to learn about it. And I think this early experimentation with quarterback rotations laid the groundwork for his approach being not so dead set on one way. If you go to Clemson, Woody Dantzler, Willie Simmons, and I went and watched tape of all this. It's really fun to go back and look at the genesis of this, which was way before this, but this was still an early time in the history of the spread. Obviously, he refined his spread attack at Clemson, I think, in a lot of ways with Woody Dantzler, who thrived in a running passing role, almost 2,000 passing yards, 800 rushing yards in the year 2000. But a lot of people don't remember the name Willie Simmons in a complementary role, who in 1999, when Dantzler, they split time. As a matter of fact, Simmons was a more pass-oriented quarterback and added versatility to the offense that went 15-9 over 2 seasons. So the use of multiple quarterbacks allowed Rodriguez to exploit defensive weaknesses at Clemson, a strategy he later perfected at West Virginia and Jacksonville State. His time at Clemson showed, in my opinion, that he could balance a dynamic starter with a capable backup to keep defensive guessing, because obviously we know Woody Dantzler was the better running player, but Simmons was a better throwing player. And sometimes you got to put the guy in that can throw it, and you have faith he can throw it. It's not always perfect, but it can be the case. We get to West Virginia, where I feel like he perfected a lot of this, and I think you can look back at the very beginning of the first year, Brad Lewis, Adam Bednarik, Rasheed Marshall, like that, right from the get-go, in his first year at West Virginia, his multi-quarterback philosophy took off. Early on in 2001, Brad Lewis started, but he struggled, right? 41 rushing yards. He was a passing quarterback. And we led us to a 3-8 season. And so he began experimenting with rotations to find the right fit. That's when Rasheed Marshall came in and became a starter for 2 years. But Rodriguez even used backups like Adam Bednarik in specific packages. Marshall's, I think Rasheed Marshall's dual threat ability fit the system, but Rich Rod was willing to break tendency to rotate to keep the offense unpredictable. Even though you have a mobile quarterback and it works, sometimes just put another guy in, you can run the same play. It's going to have defense are going to go, no. You're going to try to get people to make mistakes by just using personnel, right? It's simple, but it's something that works. So, obviously the pinnacle came in Pat White, and there was no changing of quarterbacks when Pat White was in town, except Jarrett Brown did get to play some at times, right? So I think, you look at it and you go through it and you think, well, interesting. I think at the end of the day, Rich Rod has been very comfortable doing this throughout his career, and especially at West Virginia. His philosophy was very clear. If multiple quarterbacks can win games, you play them, and this is why we became a top 10 program. You look at Michigan, Tate Forcier, Denard Robinson, Stephen Threet, very successful up until this stop at Michigan, and it's because they wouldn't buy in. I mean, look, he was there from 2008 to 2010. I don't feel like it's his fault, but there are other people that think it is his fault. So it's to each his own on this. But 15-22 does speak for itself. Can't lie. But he used a multi-quarterback approach there as well. In 2008, Stephen Threet and others were on a 3-9 team, struggling to adapt to a spread offense to the roster because it was these older players, right? These older players that have been what you would consider old school, like what Wisconsin ran, or even like what Michigan ran at the time. this under center type deal where you're not going to have the right personnel, So that's why he brought in freshman Tate Forcier and Denard Robinson. And Forcier started passing, right? He was a passer, 22,000 yards, 13 touchdowns, but he had 10 picks. He did rush for 240 yards, but when Denard Robinson got in there, he was a significant upgrade at running back, right? As a runner. Basically was a running back. 351 and 5 touchdowns in that 5 and 7 year, which belied the offensive potential, I think, that people started to realize. And in 2010, obviously, we know Denard Robinson exploded for over 2,500 passing yards, 1,700 rushing yards, 14 touchdowns, Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year. But Forcier still played some in a backup role, as a matter of fact, during that point in time. So, once again, his willingness to play both quarterbacks showcases belief that multiple signal callers can coexist, and they went 7-6. Now, I think the rotation at Michigan proved he would stick to his philosophy, even under pressure, which kind of set up Robinson's iconic NCAA football 14 cover, if you'll remember. Get to Arizona, and, you look at this is where he was at the height of his quarterback rotation, literally. So, you got players Matt Scott, B.J. Denker, Anu Solomon, Brandon Dawkins, Jared Rendall, and Khalil Tate. So, the multi-quarterback system, as it's probably could be argued, maybe it's most dynamic because he had such good players at the quarterback spot at Arizona. Even when injuries happened, he still had guys that could run this offense. 2012, Matt Scott, big-time passing quarterback at Arizona, good enough rusher. 3,600 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, 506 rushing yards. They were 8-5. But he did use backups in specific roles situationally. B.J. Denker, 2013, took over for 2,500 yards and 1,000 rushing yards, with Rich Rodriguez rotating others in to keep the offense humming. You look at Kadeem Carey, who was the running back at the time, and so they really needed somebody that could run off of him, right, in this system that he used, because Kadeem Carey is an absolute monster. Anu Solomon came in, led him to a 10-win season as a freshman, guys, and 3,700 yards, 28 touchdowns passing, but the injuries hit him in 2015 and 16, and so he was forced to lead on Brandon Dawkins and Jared Rendall. Dawkins and Rendall ran for combined 850 yards and 850 passing yards, 700 rushing yards in 2015, and look at Randall's 9 yards per carry. They really stood out. But those guys kept splitting. They were rotating back in, back out, back in, back out in 15 and 16. 16, once again, quarter injuries hit the quarterback room, and Dawkins, who had rushed for 945 yards and 10 touchdowns as a freshman, had to leave Khalil Tate come in, who had 6 touchdowns in 7 games, and he did step up, although the 3-9 season was really bad. But I think his rotations kept the offense in a good spot. It was the defense that couldn't really do anything. Then in 2017, we know Khalil Tate set the FBS single-game rushing record for 327 yards versus Colorado after Dawkins' injury, which means he finished with 1,591 passing yards, 1,411 rushing yards, and Rodriguez's ability, in my opinion, to pivot between quarterbacks led to a bowl-winning season that year for Arizona, even though he had an injury-plagued tenure there, truly. Every single year he had quarterbacks getting hurt there, and I think it showed the system's resilience. It showed his resilience, and his own issues got in the way at Arizona, which led to his firing. It wasn't on the field, it was off the field. So he proved he could take multiple quarterbacks and make them work, adapt their strengths to what he does, whether it's passing for Solomon, where it's passing, you could go all the way back to Forcier. It didn't really matter. Running for, Denard Robinson or Tate, and he's able to overcome adversity that way. What about Jack State, where he was just at recently? Well, he took over an FCS program that was on its way to FCS. We know he went 27-10, the Conference USA title, but how did he approach that situation? That's what a lot of people want to know. Well, we'll go to break and tell you the rest of this story. After that, we're going to look at the tape. Yep, that's right. I said it. We're going to look at the tape. Why? Because that's what we love around here. We're going to look at Nico Marchiol, and obviously we're going to look at Jaylen Henderson. Let's let the tape decide who the better player is. We'll be right back here on Locked On West Virginia. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by Game Time. And we talk about game time on this show because we're believers in game time around here. And we understand that, we've all been there, logging on early and waiting for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Look, live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. Well, that's where Game Time comes in. Makes concert tickets easy, fast to get, and look, it's easier than ever. It really is. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, going against conventional wisdom. You'd think they would go up, but they do not. And you can save a 60%. That's right, 60% with killer last minute deals at Game Time. If you're tired of the endless scrolling, trying to find the best deal, Game Time's zone deals picks get you the best seat in the best section for you. Panoramic seat view in the app. You can look at the seat in the app before you buy to make sure it's to your liking. And of course, they will match any deal that you can find that's better with up to 110% of the discount, and allows you to take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time and concert tickets, guys, show tickets, etc. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Read the terms because they always are going to apply here, but create an account, use the code LOCKED, ONCOLLEGE for $20 off today. And download the Game Time app with last-minute tickets, lowest prices that are guaranteed, and you'll find out the question of all questions. What time is it? It's game time. Segment 2, Crack-a-Doo with me, a late night edition, Paul After Dark edition. We're just going to take a sip. Nice to see Raven in here. Nice to see everybody in here. So if you're just catching in or jumping in, talked to a source earlier today. Obviously, everybody goes on break, has been on break this week. But consensus that he got and others feel is it's a very close race still. It's not like they're going out and really practicing everything. I think they are running through some drills and things, but from a work ethic perspective, from a workout perspective, I'm told Scotty Fox has made the biggest impression on people. Continues to make a huge impression on people, but we know he's not in the running to start right now. It's between Nico Marchiol and Jaylen Henderson. And this is why we're doing this episode, because people are getting to wonder, maybe this does go into the season and turns into a two quarterback system. And maybe they do figure this out over the first 2 games before Pitt. Wouldn't be a shocker to me, maybe because Rodriguez said it himself. You really don't know what you got till it's under the lights, because you can't go full speed in practice and you can't risk it. You can, but you risk it. No risk it, no biscuit, they say. Well, why not just do it in the game? You've got a first game against Robert Morris where you can find out a lot. Then the competition steps up and up against Ohio University where, if a guy makes a mistake, you can go out 3 and out on the drive even or something, right? So, because I don't think this is the 10-win or 11-win Ohio University teams we've been seeing. If that's the case, we'd be on true upset alert, in my opinion. But any of the last Ohio University teams, they won 10, and 11 games. Yeah, we'd be on upset alert. But we're not, in this situation, not so much. I think this is a situation where they're going to be rebuilding too, and our talent level is better than their talent level. And generally speaking, we should win the game. That's a side note to my point. I think we'll figure it out over the first couple games, and we'll have a real starter by Pitt. But let's finish this breakdown really quick. At Jack State, he did it as well. He went with 2 quarterbacks at Jack State at times, didn't he? Zion Webb obviously was the starter for that FCS run and the ASUN title, but Rich Rodriguez prepared for the FBS jump by adding Logan Smothers in 2023. So both quarterbacks played extensively, with Rich Rod calling them the 2 starting quarterbacks. It's cool. I laughed when I went back and watched the press conference, and he does. He doesn't refer to either one as a starting quarterback. He says we got two good starting quarterbacks. Like that's what he was saying, and he's nuts like that, man. He's like he'll stand on business, man. He don't care. He's not going to sit there and pretend like one guy's the guy that's you're not sure who it's going to be. No, it's both of them, man. You try to stop them. Good luck. We're pissing hot. Webb passed for 1,400 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions, and rushed for 708 yards. And then some others added 1,000 total offense and 11 touchdowns. So they're both very productive. Obviously, in 2024, Tyler Huff, a transfer from Furman, comes in, and boy, did he thrive in the Rich Rodriguez offense, passing for 2,179 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. 1,343 yards and 14 touchdowns, which is a huge leap in production, led Jacksonville State to a 15-2-12 rout of Western Kentucky in the Conference USA title game. Didn't need a second quarterback in 2024. Tyler Huff was just that guy. So, but his history suggests he'd have rotated one if he needed it. I think that's what I think there. If he needs to, he will. If he doesn't, he won't. So that begs me my last question after we finish this stat up. Jacksonville State's rushing attack was top 10 nationally. I think that was great. And, it shows that he can still coach in any era, right? Well, now he's back at West Virginia, and it's Nico Marchiol, right? We know we love them both. We love Nico. We think he's been here for years. We know he's been here for years, and we think he deserves the chance. But Jaylen Henderson is not going to be denied easily. Scotty Fox is waiting in the wings. Max Brown comes in from Charlotte, and he's no slouch. Khalil Wilkins is somebody that we all thought was going to be a stud and hasn't gotten his shot. What's the dealio in West Virginia's quarterback situation in 2025? Well, I kind of decided, since Rich Rodriguez rejects the two quarterbacks, no quarterbacks mantra, and because he's had success with dual threat quarterbacks throughout his history to a major level, not just once or twice. He's done it at every single stop. Every single stop, he's done it. You think it's going to be different this time? When he doesn't have a proven guy? No, I don't think so. The more I think about this, the more it makes sense. Whenever I'm asked to predict this, I'm probably going to not predict a starter unless I hear otherwise from inside the building. So, this is a pretty relevant topic. And even though it's a little, maybe a little bit overdone, I think, when you start putting the overall stats to it, you start putting the overall philosophies to it, and you look at what we have and what he's done in the past, it kind of makes sense. Because I think it's such a close race between the top two guys. It'd be different if it was such a big stretch one way or the other. Really don't know what the deal is. So what we're going to do, we're going to decide for ourselves and the jury of Locked On West Virginia. We're going to use the tape to do it. Now, varying degrees of differences between this tape. Number one, this will be Nico Marchiol's high school tape because, well, let's just be honest. He doesn't have a ton of college tape that I can watch and not get copywritten hit. Jaylen Henderson does because he's filmed a lot of his practice footage. And a lot of the footage he has from A&M's games are their actual game footage, like from the coaching staff. So it doesn't have a digital thumbprint that ESPN can find, by the way. Like it happened to me yesterday. I played a video for 8 seconds, and because their logo is clear on the screen, I didn't see it, and I'll be dang if I didn't get hit with copyright. So I just deleted it. I said, you're not going to take my revenue. I'll just delete it. You can't have it. Over 8 seconds. That's all it was. I didn't even realize it was playing, to be honest with you. But either way, that's why I had to be more careful and better at when I choose videos. I knew it was risky what I was doing, and I did it anyway. So I just had to own up. So, okay, let's go to Nico Marchiol first and watch his senior highlights. If you haven't seen Nico Marchiol's highlights, truly an impressive thing. And it's hard to believe that he's so far into his college career now as a junior. It seems like just yesterday I was freaking out over getting him. Very excited. I don't know if there's music to this or not, but he's probably, one thing about Nico too is he's changed quite a bit from a body standpoint, from some other things, but overall, like his throwing motion, pretty much exactly the same still. And his athletic ability, it's going to look a little better. Now, see, this is the Nico I want, guys. If we can get him, okay. So here's where I think we need. This is how we unlock Nico, in my opinion. This is just my personal opinion. Because whenever I studied Nico when he came out of high school, I thought, my God, he is a maestro with the ball. He's got great ball handling skills. Excuse me, new medication still working on me here. But so look at the calmness under pressure because he'd started so many games in his high school career by now. It wasn't a big thing to him. Watch him use the pump fake here. So, pump fake, right? And just real simple. And now I'm making a nice, easy throw to the outside. That kind of stuff comes with repetition. It's not something that comes quickly. So I'll be super interested to see just how comfortable he is in a new system. I wish I could stop that, but he does a lot of things that um, I just want to see at the college level. In extensive time. Like there's, I do believe that he could be a great player. He's not. He's just got this funny throwing motion, kind of. It's I don't know how to explain it. It's similar to Philip Rivers in some ways, in my opinion, where the way the arm motion is. But it's such a pretty looking throw as well. Like especially when he's on the move like this, man, that's a quick release. It's very nicely placed. Like he's got the arm talent to do and be a good player. This is where I think he can help West Virginia. He's so big and strong, as you've seen in the Oklahoma State game that's going by again today, going around X again today. But here's where I think he can be a benefit to us in the pocket. When the pocket collapses, shaking guys off like Big Ben and moving up in the pocket. Like I think that's one of his biggest strengths and can absolutely help us with. Where Garrett Green kind of just had to take off, right? Nico, not necessarily. He can do either or. So I really like what he has to offer from a complete and total package standpoint. Here he is rolling right and throwing left. It's a pretty nice one there. And these quick decisions, you can see he thrives in a quick decision kind of offense. And that shows out on tape. And I think one of the other things I think about Nico is he's really going to thrive in this offense where he just makes quick decision after quick decision. There's not 30 seconds between snaps to think about the play, to try to play with the clock, to try to wait for this, to try to wait for that. No, we're just lining up and then we're going to snap it. We're going to make it easy on you. We're going to run the same 15, 20 plays, except we're going to have 200 different formations for it. And you're going to be a star in this system, especially as a runner. I think Nico has a real chance to be good. Even though he hasn't shown a lot on here running wise, when he brings it out, man, it is impressive. Especially when he was in high school. Here's a play. So it's one of those things where I think he's going to be really good. I just don't know if he's better than the guy we've got in town. That's a question that I would love to know the answer to right now, so I could just pick the other guy, but I can't. So, but yeah, this is a pretty solid tape in Nico. Obviously, you can see why he was rated 4 stars. It's no surprise. He throws a great ball. He was in great rhythm here at this spot where he'd started a bunch of games. And now you look and see, and he's going to have a lot of talent around him in Morgantown, the most that he's had. So the Nico Marchiol, man, he's got some interesting tape for sure. And I am not going to be shocked if he wins the job outright before the year. But let's look at the other guy before we make any rush judgments here, because Jaylen Henderson, right? We know it, we love it. This is his basically from the end zone footage where his, I guess maybe his family or the most likely the Texas A&M staff have filmed this, and you get a good sense for what he is too on this tape. So it's a super interesting mixture of both guys. So let's get to it on Jaylen Henderson now. In the shotgun with two guys to each hip, and this is a running play. So one of the things I like about him too is he's got really great what I consider short area of explosion and good cuts. They're just nice, decisive cuts. Nothing that's going to freak you out. But like, I love watching Jaylen run. He's very smooth, cut, cut. It's just very subtle cuts, but he does enough to get in the end zone on that play. And then on that, I mean, that was one heck of a ball there. And I mean, some of these throws he makes are just really pretty. But sometimes they look like he's trying to throw darts. It's depending on the play. So like that rolling out to his left, he looked great, really great. But overall, we know this is what he does best. Running with the ball in his hands is where I think he is very dangerous. And if he could just keep this level of passing he had at A&M here, that'll definitely work for West Virginia, especially some of this downfield stuff. Really has a great downfield arm. So, I think he will be a kid that comes in, and I don't know. I still don't know who the better passer between the two is. I've tried and tried to tried. I think you got to put them both on the field as starters before you can ever really determine that at West Virginia. They've all both been starters before, but until I see them both perform in the same game against the same competition or whatever, it's going to be so hard to really make that prediction. But yeah, there's a lot to like about Jaylen's footage as well. Like I said, I mean, just look at that deep pass there. That's an elite go ball. You can't throw it any better. You literally can't. There's a kid in his face. I mean, just look at this. Kid in his face coming right through. There he is. I mean, just nice. He's spinning that thing, man. Does a good job of it. There he is again. All right, low snap, but I mean, just look at him easily flip that thing out there. So we got guys that can get deep this year, and I think this will be a part of the offense. It's one of the reasons I favored him is because he throws a much better deep ball than Nico, but I think Nico maybe throws it intermediately a little better. But even then, I don't know for sure because there's just not enough out there on Nico practice-wise or anything except in games. And in games, Neil Brown was protecting him. So it wasn't like it was really fair, I don't think, to try to pinpoint Nico as either of the things that he was bad at, which was passing was one of them, and the games that he started up until now. But I do think he can be a better player than he's shown. I do, as far as a passing quarterback. So yeah, curious what you guys know about or how you guys feel about this competition. Do you feel like it should be Nico, and tell me why? Do you feel like it should be Jaylen, or tell me why? Or do you understand that Coach Rodriguez has done this over and over and over again, and it's probably going to happen again because this is just what he's done. This is what he's always done. We'll finish this out on watch the individual workouts that both these guys have posted here in the last month or so. For reference, I always pull this picture up of Jaylen. His father's a great guy. Got to talk with him on the phone for a little bit at one point in time, and that was a pretty funny conversation. But we'll go there another day. Is it not working? There it goes. Okay. All right. So, I mean, he's got a great release. I think it's one of those things where is it showing it? Yeah. Okay. It's a good release. It's definitely not your typical release. It's definitely 3/4 ish. But I mean, you can take it and look the balance transfer it's definitely gotten a lot better since you look at his Fresno State time. He's become a better passer for sure. But he's more of a playmaker, anyways. Like I mean, look at this play here. I love this play, the way he whips his arm. Really nice, and it's a pretty crazy looking throw, isn't it? You look at where the ball. I mean, this isn't like Aaron Rodgers throwing it. This is like almost sidearmed, really. I mean, it's a pretty wild looking throw. It is sidearmed. So, yeah. But I mean, it gets there and it gets there on time. I mean, if you look at his stuff from, if you look at his stuff from Texas A&M, I mean, it was good stuff, right? And he's got good footwork too. And then you look at his deep ball stuff, and that's where he really shines at. He can just toss that thing deep. Well, I'll tell you guys what, man. This medication, I figured I'd take it before I jumped on here and did the show. Well, it's working on me. It's working on me, man. It's got me tired. So I'm going to have to jump off here in a minute. But we're going to watch the Nico stuff, practice or workout footage, whatever you want to call it, really quick. Yeah, but I started. I told you guys a couple of times I started a new medication, and even though it's a very kind of harmless medication, it's for anxiety, so it's got some grogginess to it. Sheesh. I probably should have waited to do that. We'll go back to the. I guess I must have clicked off of the Nico. We'll go back to it one more time really quick. All right, so Nico. All right, so going back. Baby, come back. All right, back to Nico's page. One more time. We won't be there. Is this the play that's been circulating? Yeah, it is. No, it's not either. Is this the one? No. I better get off of it though, because if I stay too long, I'll be in trouble. Anyways, let's go back to the footage of Nico working out. Oh. All right. So here's one of him doing some footwork. And very pretty ball. I mean, just a very smooth looking throwing motion. You really can't get much better with throwing motion than this. Look at the footwork on his tiptoes. And just an beautiful over the top looking throw. Perfect spiral down the sideline. You can't do it better. So, he's obviously, as far as I'm not big on, I think throwing motions are important as long as you have a healthy one that works for you, that's what matters. There are some coaches though that won't take any other way than the way they teach it. Some guys don't like the throwing, like Jaylen. He's not ever going to be everybody's cup of tea the way he throws it. So, oh, that's Nico's cousin, isn't it? Yeah. By the way, Aurelio can really. I interviewed him a couple years ago. This kid's a good player as well. I thought there was more Nico tape than this out. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe it's on back a page. I thought it was. Yeah, here we go. These are the ones. For whatever reason, I guess they've been taken down.
Bounce to balance.
So I mean, I'll be honest though, like he looks much more refined as a passer. And if this is the case, if he's improved his passing this much, this is no pressure. This is in shorts. So it's going to look great, but like that one right there, very nicely done. I mean, that's a great ball, really deep down the field for sure. Can't be mad at it. And then you look at some of what Jaylen did, which I almost forgot about, to be honest. The ball gets there when he throws it too, man. It just looks different. But, man, he throws a pretty ball as well, just as far as how the ball comes out of his hand and everything. Oops. So it's a tough decision. I don't envy Rich Rodriguez, I'll tell you that. Now look at that ball. I think Jaylen's the better deep ball thrower. I really do. And I think he's probably the more elusive runner. And I've said this before. Nico's the more punishing runner right now as it stands now. He's a more punishing runner. And I think he may be a touch more accurate, but even I don't know that. I don't even know that, to be honest. So, yeah, this is an interesting race, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Rich play both. You see how would it work out? I would say probably on long passing situations, you're probably going to get Nico as far as like 10 yards. You need 10 yards, not deep. Um, you know, maybe on the goal line you see Nico, and then maybe 20 to 20 you see. I don't know. I could not tell you how it would work out, but it was going to be fun to see how it ends up, what ends up happening, and what ends up working. I'll tell you that. So, yeah, I thought it was interesting that the conversation I had earlier, the guy offered up this information to me. Like, I'll take it. Don't don't believe that. I'll take it. If you want to tell me about it, I'll take it for sure. So, all right, guys, that's all I got for you. I just wanted to jump on here and have this conversation. It's after dark, which is almost 4th of July. Make sure you enjoy your time with family and loved ones if you have that. If you don't, hit me up, man. We can talk for a few minutes. I'm absolutely here for anybody, veterans or otherwise, that feels lonely on the July 4th. I want you guys all to know that. My inbox is wide open at Paul Mountaineer over on X, or at ROCKEL PAUL 0 at gmail.com. Find me at either of those places. And if you need a conversation, if you're upset, depressed, sad, you feel dehumanized, you feel you're like you're not any good. If you need edification, I'm the guy. What do I do for a living? You see it here every day, right? I build people up. I tell you guys how awesome people are. I do that because I love to be that person. Also, I believe in these players. Like I criticize. I just said Jaylen didn't have a great throwing motion, right? Like I do criticize, even though it may be small sometimes. But I just wanted to say this platform here for me, guys, is more about the connection to you than it is almost anything else. And if that's all we ever get out of it, I'm okay with that. So if anybody needs me, please reach out and I will come and I'll try to move mountains for you. Other than that, guys, thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. And I'll see you tomorrow. We'll talk about something cool, I'm sure. There's not a whole lot of news going on right now. It's the 4th of July. We'll try to find something to talk about. I always do. See you then. Good night.